Here we go. Good morning, everyone. Sandra Madaffrey here. Welcome to another Monday morning musing webinar. Nice to have you here. You can see different surroundings. I am currently in Adelaide. I did come here last week for quarantine purpose, and lucky enough, I have been allowed out of quarantine. So I'm now having a little holiday, but let's get started. I'll wait for a few people to jump on and join me. And in the meantime, I will share the screen. I will have the usual chat box up for anyone who has any questions or anything at all to say. So let's get going, put the slideshow on. So if you are watching on Facebook and you'd like to join us, please come over. The link is in, sorry, not using my usual computer today. So I'm just going to bring the chat box up now. So hello to me and welcome, welcome, welcome. It's nice to have you here. Just getting myself organized as I am on my laptop and not my computer. So let's get started. Learning flexibility for business success. If 2020 didn't taught us anything, it was all about being flexible. It was all about having to have flexibility, and even up until 2 weeks ago for me, it was all about learning to have flexibility in my business, in my life, to be able to continue to do what I want to do and to be able to create the business that I wanted to. Now, quickly, with minimum effect on your business and on yourself. So I know there are a couple of people watching both on Facebook and on the webinar. Please say hello and let me know you're here. I'd love to hear from you. So let's have a little bit of a look why you need flexibility. Nothing stays the same. Things are thrown at you, things change. We're in a world of ever constant movement and flow. Hi, Megan. Of things adapting and things moving very quickly, very, very quickly. Now, one thing that happened last year to a lot of people was that we were not able to continue to live life or or create a business or have the business that we wanted the way it was beforehand. And what I found was the people who were able to pivot quickly. And it's not just about pivoting and changing. So you've got to have a look at your mindset in this as well. Because you can pivot and change, but if you're stuck in the mindset of fear or uncertainty around that pivot and change, that can actually drag you down in your business. So these are some of the reasons why you need to become flexible in your business. And as I said, nothing stays the same. Things are shifting and changing all the time. And on an online business, one of the things that you find is that stuff's happening online all the time that's different. You know, we're getting new social media things. For instance, Clubhouse has just come up, where Facebook is constantly changing its algorithms. Facebook bought out Instagram, you know, so things are constantly changing. So you need to be adaptable to those changes, because if you don't, you get left behind. And also too, society's changing. You know, society is looking, it's evolving, it's looking for different things all the time. Life out there is changing. So if you don't evolve with the changes, if you're a business owner and you don't evolve, imagine if you were a business owner that was still selling or making horse and carts. You know, well, you can't make the horses, but you know what I mean. You were still selling carts for horse and carts when the motor vehicle came in, you would have lost your business if you didn't adapt and pivot. And this is happening right now in our society on many, many levels. And there's often a lot of clients that I speak to who are very, very resistant around getting online and social media and creating a social media business. And unfortunately, that is where it's all at the moment. Even if it is one of the most important things that we need. But even if you do go out there and connect with people, people still stalk you. So you need to have a social media presence. You also need to be in that mindset of flexibility because you need to introduce new things, try new things. If you stay stuck where you are without trying new things because you've got fear or whatever, or you don't think things are going to work, or you don't want to take those risks, and you stay where you are right now, you don't get to grow the business. Being flexible, having that ability to try new things, and with the attitude of, well, you know what, let's just test and measure and see if things work. And this is one of the things that is so important in business, is testing and measuring. Without testing and measuring, when you try new things, you don't know what opportunities exist. Because being flexible helps you to step out of your comfort zone. The more you do this, the more mindset that you have around, let's try something new, let's do something different, the more you step out of your comfort zone. Okay? And if you can practice and be flexible, if you have employees, or if you have, when I say employees, it doesn't necessarily have to be employees. It might be also things like clients that are, not clients, out if you're outsourcing and you've got a flexible mindset, it accommodates them, and it also opens you up to being able to listen to new and different things that they might give you that you don't realize that you can do. So let's have a look at some tips for becoming, for developing this mindset. So the first thing that you need to do is you create a risk management plan. This is something that people in business seem to not do. And it's not because things go wrong. It's just that you want to be looking at, if I do this and it doesn't quite work the way I want to, can I try that instead? What will happen? I often say to my clients that it's important that they learn how to do everything first before they outsource. That's risk management. Because if someone leaves, if an employee leaves, if a contractor that you're working with leaves, you need to be able to step in on yourself. So you know what? Sometimes when you face your worst fears, they don't seem so scary. So, if you're going to try something new, or if you're in business and you're wanting to move forward, or you're wanting to do something that's a little bit different, and you have that fear about having to change, write down what's the worst that can happen. Because when you create a risk management plan, sometimes you realize it's not that bad. Oops, just again, fiddling around with the computer today. Don't create your goals, but don't follow them without question. So create your goals, but don't create goals that this is the only way things are going to happen. Make sure that you create goals that you can pivot from, and you can change, and you can say how else. A lot of people, when they create stuck in, this is the only way things can happen. Things can happen in a multitude of ways. And if something gets in your way, don't sit there and think, well, this is the only way it was meant to happen and now it's over. So don't create your goals that are stuck, rigid, and this is the only way. Question them. Something doesn't quite work out. If you're stepping out your goals and you get to that step and it hasn't quite worked out the way you want it to, ask yourself, what can I do instead? Really, really important. I'd love to know from the guys that are sitting there, I'd love to know what you think of these. Don't be afraid of change. Okay. If you have a risk management plan and you have goals that you are happy to change and happy to be flexible with, you won't be so scared. One of the best things that I've ever done is create, is actually step into my fear of what if that didn't quite work out the way I wanted. When your goals, visions, etc. change direction. This is another big one. We evolve as people as well. We evolve, our businesses evolve. So sometimes you need to pivot. But what happens is, because possibly you've set certain goals, because possibly you've decided you've got a certain vision, you then don't want to change because you think, oh, what are people going to think about me? What's it going to look like if I evolve and change? Okay, so what I want to say to you is, if you're evolving, if you're changing, if you're feeling you have got to do something different, change direction, take that direction. Don't sit there thinking, oh, what are people going to say and what are people going to do? You can actually see just from me explaining this morning that flexibility is more about the mindset around it than the actual flexibility. It's well informed. What's going on out there? What's going different? As a business owner, I spend a portion of my time every single week having a look at what's new on social media, what's different, doing some research, reading some books. So research so that you are well informed around the changes and things that are happening out there. Okay. If you have staff, or whether that's staff that you directly employ or staff that you outsource to, listen to them. Listen. It doesn't mean you have to implement what they say, but listen, do your research and have a look at your risk management plan. What if we did implement what they say? Because you know what? Two heads are always better than one. And have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay. And this is exactly what I was saying from last year. When we got locked down, and especially when we got locked down in Melbourne, the second time was for 15 weeks. I was just about to launch a meditation program, and I either had to wait, and I wouldn't have been able to launch it till this year, or I had to pivot. I had to look at the course. Is this okay to run online? Which it was. And I had to pivot, go in, change it, and get authorization to be able to run it online. That happened with quite a few of my courses that I used to run face-to-face. There was also a couple of things that I chose not to do online, personal preference. So have plan A, B, C. If you already think about these things, and let's say the worst case scenario does happen, you'll be prepared. You won't go into an emotional flux. You'll be able to think clearer. And that's exactly what happened to me just over 2 weeks ago now, when Melbourne went into lockdown and South Australia locked their border. I had to make a decision really quickly. Do I fly to South Australia and quarantine for 14 days, not knowing whether the borders would open or not? And I chose to do that. So the borders opened, and lucky for me, we've been allowed out. But, there was a massive probability that I could have still been stuck in isolation, even with the borders open. So you can make more clear decisions if you've already got risk management. And I've got a training in Brisbane coming up in just over a month, and I have a risk management plan for that as well. So, you have to always be prepared. And if you're prepared for things changing and shifting, and I'm not saying going wrong, because I don't see even 2020 and what happened as being something that went wrong. It was an opportunity. You always deal with it a lot easier. Okay. And when an obstacle presents itself, don't let the obstacle stop you. Don't let yourself say, see, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Think, what can I do instead? Okay. And even at the end of the day, if you do something and it doesn't work, you've learned something from that. So flexibility is very important for growth in your business and for growth as a human as well. Okay, really, really important. And most important one, don't get emotionally attached. This is what stops people from getting out of their comfort zone. This is what stops people from being to move forward in their businesses. This is what stops people from taking those leaps of faith that might propel you to have that business that you want. When you become emotionally attached and you start saying things like, I knew I shouldn't, and blaming yourself and going through that shame in your head that you shouldn't have done that, or anything else, you know, or getting into those limiting beliefs or anything else. Oh, I knew I couldn't do this. That stops you from being able to, number one, move forward once an obstacle has come in your way. But number two, it also stops you in the future from being able to move forward as well. And hire a coach, a consultant, or a mentor. I cannot stress this enough. Whenever I have worked with a coach, a consultant, or a mentor, I have always been able to stay on top of the game. When I don't have someone to work with, and for me, it's usually someone who combines strategy with mindset. I love the strategies, but I constantly need someone to help me with my mindset, to take me to that next level within my mindset, to help me achieve the next level in my business. So that's it for me today, guys. Nice, short and sweet today. But remember, flexibility is key, because if you are not flexible, you are not open to change. And if you're not open to change, you'll keep doing the same thing and your business keeps staying exactly where it is. So thank you again for those that joined me. I will be coming live from Adelaide again next week for another Monday morning musing webinar. But in the meantime, if you want to have a chat with me, you can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And remember, be flexible. We can't change what happens outside of ourselves, but we can definitely decide how we respond. So thank you again, guys, for being here. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Bye for now. Pleasure, Trevor. Trevor, we need to chat one day. Enjoy your time in SA. Enjoy and learn heaps. Fantastic. We need to chat one day. I'd love to actually say hello to you. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you next week at the same time. Bye for now.